Welcome back to my channel. This is Spirit Soul Sense, Information for Your Soul. I'm Shareece, and I've been back and forth about doing this video because I like to talk ideas, not people, but Kevin Samuels on the internet, on YouTube is big, and so hence, me putting that in there. I like him, right? And I feel like everybody's like, you shouldn't like him. And I want to flesh out some ideas and some factors that may go into play with why I like him. What is it that appeals to me about him? Because I think he has some really great ideas that have been misconstrued. I love all the little, comedy skits that people have done about him because they're funny, and I love a good joke. Oh my gosh, I can find like almost anything funny. I love a good joke. But, they're not actually a representation of like what he stands for. So let's define some terms, right? Misogyny is the hate of women. Misogynoir is the hate of Black women. Feminism, technically, the denotation is the equality of the sexes. I don't call myself a feminist because I don't like the connotation of feminism, and there's been so many different varieties of what feminism actually is that I don't find it helpful for me to call myself a feminist. Okay. If we're talking about patriarchy, I think when people say patriarchy, they mean men are bad. I don't know if that's what they mean. In the context of what they're saying, men, the collective, are the ones who have the most masculine energy. Masculine energy is really, it's not about men. Masculine energy helps make men what they are. I love masculine energy. I love feminine energy. We both have both inside of us, but men generally have more of the masculine energy. And with masculine energy comes building things and, being inspired by feminine energy to, build. Men create a lot of things, a lot of useful things. They're doers, right? They're like, masculine energy is a lot about doing. And so the ideas that Kevin Samuels talks about, he's older, I think he's in his 50s. And so he has a more old school way of thinking and relating to women. I am from the Caribbean, and we have a lot of gender roles back home. I like gender roles. I do not find gender roles oppressive. I think it's a choice. I choose to have gender roles in my relationship, and I choose to, have a man as the head of the household, leader type. Like, that's what I choose. I think when we get into like patriarchy and all these rules about what women can and can't do is where we get into problems. I love all women, but Black women are my favorite. And I think women should be able to do whatever they want. Do whatever you want. If you're a woman, do whatever you want. If you want to be in a relationship with a woman, do that. If you want to be in a relationship with a man, do that. If you want to be in a relationship with multiple people, do that. Whatever you want to do for work, do whatever you want, is what I say. I think what Kevin Samuels generally says on his channel is, if you are in the market for a very specific type of man, because we're assuming you're heterosexual, and he's generally talking to Black women. If you're in the market for a specific type of Black man, there are specific things that you have to do. But aside from this very specific, which is like my only problem with like this high value conversation, is that most people are not high value, and that being average is not bad. It's what most people are. And so him being on YouTube, like, the men I date don't even watch YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even know who this guy is. They don't even know these conversations because that's not, they're out living life. And so, like, I keep telling people, get off of the internet and live your life. I love YouTube, YouTube University, but get off of the internet and talk to people, live your life. Because, commenting back and forth about what is or what isn't, I don't think it's helpful. I like having the energy on my channel of critical thinking, spirituality, becoming a better person, evolving. And I do feel like there's an opportunity here for all of us to learn that men and women need each other. And if you're looking for heterosexual type relationship with a man, I mean, there's just certain ideals that may be best. And so when Kevin Samuels talks about men focusing on your purpose, anytime someone talks like that, I already know they're tapped in. Like they understand how the world works. They understand like your soul has a purpose here on earth. Figure it out. You are not going to find it in a man. You are not going to find it in a woman. You won't. You may be inspired by another person, but your soul is not going to be fulfilled if you do not pursue what it is that you were meant to do here. And some women, right, find a lot of satisfaction and purpose in motherhood. But there's transitions to motherhood, and eventually these children will not be in your house, and your role of mothering is not going to be what it was. And so you need to figure out, is being a mother to these children my sole purpose? How can it be when they are going to be gone? They will be gone. Like your responsibility for them will decrease and decrease and decrease, and they will not need you the way a newborn needs you. And so your purpose may be mothering, but maybe more than just your kids, because you have to do this. This is why people go through midlife crises. You have to find something else to do if you only attach yourself to this one like tiny thing. Like my purpose here on earth is really about helping people. There's lots of different ways to help people, and I do that with psychology and spirituality. Brings me so much joy, like so much joy. But the idea of focus on your purpose. Men, stop being so distracted by all these women. Figure out what it is that you want to do to your life. Figure out how you can be a contributing member to society, and you'll be satisfied in life, and you'll make better decisions. I think, and people, and I've had very few conversations with men about Kevin Samuels, because one, most of them don't know like who he is. But then the ones that do know, I don't know, we just don't talk about this kind of, we talk about bigger stuff. So I get a little frustrated when people who've never watched a full Kevin Samuels live stream have only negative things to say about him. It's frustrating to me that, you know, I'm here talking about critical thinking, going to the source, verifying information, and people will only watch a clip of him. And I'm very much in team. People are human and imperfect, and I don't have to agree with everything someone says to be able to say they have good points. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with his tone with everyone. Kevin Samuel is very much of a I match energy kind of person. I don't match energy. I maintain my energy. But he's a different person, and I really don't expect everyone to be in the same place that I am in life. Like, first of all, I am never ever having a call-in show. Why would I do that to myself and expose myself to all these people's energy? At some point, I probably would be popping off. I'm just saying. Kevin Samuels also talks about going to therapy. Listen, I'm a psychologist, so I'm definitely team get yourself together, okay? Because all of us have had some kind of trauma from our childhood. Some not so severe, right? Some it's like, you know, you just need 6 sessions to deal with this thing. And some people need lifelong therapy or Alcoholics Anonymous or some kind of like years and years of support because of what's happened to them in life. But anybody who's normalizing go to therapy and not using it as an insult, why would I like not like this guy? I have the understanding that he's not talking to everyone. It's a very specific group of people who say they want this thing. I have this other video about why is there so much dating advice for Black women, and it really has a lot to do with statistics and Black women generally not getting the results that they want. Yes, men need to catch up, but at the same time, I really think there's a disconnect, not just with Black women and Black men. Collectively in the Western world, men and women have been separating more, disagreeing more. And then in the age of social media and swiping right, it's been easier to just write people off and not get to know people and accept that every single person has flaws And really, you just have to find the flaws that you can live with, and you can still be happy. They will have flaws. There will be things about your partner you do not like. If you've been in a serious long-term relationship, there will be things you do not like. But generally, you can like the person, love the person, want to keep being with the person. And I've also toyed around with the idea of fat phobia, and that being that. So fat phobia is like a fear of fat people, or disdain, oppressing of people who have different bodies that don't meet the ideal, because I might be fat phobic, and I'm really sorry. I don't think I am, but I might be. I do not tell people to lose weight. I don't think that's helpful. I think anyone with an excess amount of weight has it there for a reason, whether it be health concerns, emotional concerns. But I think I personally tell people, eat vegetables and exercise. I'm not concerned with your weight, because weight does not equate health. I know this. Weight does not equate health. So you can have somebody who's 300 something pounds and fairly well, like their blood work as well. You can have someone who's 107 pounds who is deathly ill. Like you can't, it doesn't match up. So I understand like his outlook on weights and women and blah blah blah, but I find it more helpful to tell people, here are some of the risk factors for weight, if you care. But at the end of the day, eat vegetables, eat lots of vegetables, and exercise 3 times a week. Like at least 3 times a week for 30 minutes. If you can do that, then I think you're doing well. Because, yeah, I think the fast food industry, it's just a really, really much bigger conversation than just personal responsibility. And weight is so hard to lose and keep off. Like once you've gained a certain amount of weight, it's very hard to keep off. And so I get it. Like I get it. The whole Western world is dealing with this because McDonald's. I mean, like I get it. So maybe the way he talks about that is, sort of problematic in a way. But I am more in line with working on the individual. Like I was just talking to my son about, he was like watching this video about whaling and, people killing dolphins and all this stuff, and how bad he feels for the animals. And, he's like, I'm so depressed. I'm like, listen. The best thing you can do for the world is to work on yourself, is to treat the people around you with the most kindness. The people closest to you, you treat them the best. You treat them with the most love, because it has a ripple effect. And what's happening in China, you cannot control. But you can control the way you respond to the person right next to you. You can control what you put in your body. You can control how often you exercise. Yes, you can have a lot of challenges because of work, family, obligations, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, nobody can do it for you. I mean, I'm a person who procrastinates, right? Works past procrastination. But at the end of the day, it's me. It's you, and you have to work on you. And so like on a grander scale, I understand the systemic oppression, food deserts, multi-billion-dollar industry of, fast food. But I cannot control that. I can't. As one person, I cannot control that. I can talk to individual people about cooking what you eat, eating what you cook, eating what you cook, and how to but it's like, it's you, right? At the end of the day, it's you. And the hope is that big government programs and all that stuff can help, but it'll still be you at the end of the day, like doing the thing. What else does he say that people don't like? If you are a Black woman interested in dating a black man who has a lot of money. Generally, they like certain things, or men with a lot of money like certain things, but there's always outliers. If you want to be in a relationship, you can be in a relationship. I think entering a relationship is the easy part. Maintaining them is the hard part. Maintaining healthy relationships is an even harder part. But there is definitely somebody for everybody. And I live in Atlanta. Dating here is weird. The longer I'm here, the more I'm like, things are a little different here. Still, people are people, but the expectations are a little different here. And as a woman coming from, appreciating gender roles, looking to men in my life for leadership and guidance, what y'all doing here? What are y'all doing? It's just interesting. But if that's what you're looking for, there's certain ways to move about in the world. Like a woman who does not want to get married and doesn't want any kids will move very differently in the world than a woman who knows, like for sure, I want to get married and I want to have kids. And Kevin Samuels talks about not delaying marriage. And if I look at like what happens in the Christian church, a lot of those folks get married fairly young, and I don't know if they have similar divorce rates. But religion, fostering relationships that are about community, building community, giving back to the world, your relationship serves a purpose bigger than I love you, you love me. Like we're actually here to work together to create something. And so in Christianity, those relationships tend to last longer because they have more keeping them fueled. And so I'm not against getting married in your to me it makes sense that a woman would get married in her 20s. People generally get married to people within their 2 to 5 year age group. That's most people. If you want a specific type of man, he generally has money later in life. So I just, because the dominance hierarchy exists, I'm not mad at the information that's being presented, because Kevin Samuel is talking about a specific group of men. I honestly think it would be more helpful to talk about the average, to give advice for what most people could benefit from, for what to look for in a relationship, but that's not what he does. And there's so many other channels that do that I think it's okay that he has this specific niche that he wants to talk about. But for people watching, I feel like I wish the takeaway was be the best version of you that you can be. Follow your purpose. Pick a mate who's emotionally stable. Understand that the person you're with is going to have flaws. Value feminine attributes in a woman. Value masculine attributes in a man. I feel like all these things are things that he talks about, but they're lost because people focus so much on the drama of it all. And the one negative conversation in 24 that he's had. I've watched a lot of his videos. Listen, the pandemic, I found him before he blew up on not blew up, but back when he had like less than 100,000 followers. I thought his messaging was good. I love his monologues. I like his energy because I like a kind of arrogant man with like swag. And so I'm not mad at him, his presence, and I can see that he is actually trying to bridge the gap between men and women right now. Because if you haven't noticed, there is a gap that's been widening. And to me, anybody who's aware of like the things that are happening and creating their own trends to help people, like the whole purpose of this is to help people, help women understand what it is that men want. I feel like women know exactly what men want, but want them to do something different. So, I don't think I'm misogynistic at all. I absolutely love women. I don't think Kevin Samuels is misogynistic either. I don't think a few arguments with the opposite sex makes you hate the opposite sex. I don't really think it works that way. I can see how it would be perceived that way if you're looking at it in a vacuum and you are not exposing yourself to the bigger picture, or your first interaction with his content is something negative. I just want people to do some research. But put some respect on his name. Like, he don't need no defending. I'm really not here to defend Kevin Samuels. I really just, I have been noticing as well the trend of men and women, and I just want to highlight that we need each other. I love men. Oh my God, I love men. And I really want, you know, gender roles to, it's a choice. And it's not oppressive. Like, you know, no one's ever called me a pick me, but sometimes I wonder, like, would somebody call me a pick me because I want a husband? Am I allowed to want a husband? Am I allowed to work hard to get a husband? Am I allowed to do that without being like negatively judged for wanting the approval of men? I want my husband to approve of me. I really want that. I want him to like me a lot. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's something wrong with seeking validation from a man. But this my desire for partnership and wanting a man, hell yes, I want a man. Like, do you know how many things I could do with a man? Like, come on. They're so good and yummy, and I like them so much. And so pay attention to, you know, the videos you watch with people who talk about men, whether they have a man in their life or not. I'm the kind of person who's been in relationship for most of my life. I've always pretty much valued having a man, and this is the longest I've been single. I'm not that person, but it's, yeah, just let me know, because am I wilding? I don't think I'm wilding. I think I'm allowed to like. I don't like so much the comparison, like to be high value and to talk about that. It's you know, you're comparing to people with less, but such is life. That's sort of how life is, and so I get it. I'm really not mad at it. If you are mad at it, leave me a comment. Or if you're not mad at it, just let me know what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you think it may help. And thank you for watching.